Welcome, 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 everyone, to our post Scotland first Thursday. Everybody half sick, recovering show. I am joined by a Lord Laura Maty Dale. We're also joined by Ashley Geraldine and Jamila. Welcome, everyone, to the coffin show. We all got sick on the bus tour. Even to the point where she needs steroids to help her get through it. But it was an amazing, amazing trip. Laura, what are your first thoughts of our Scotland trip? Laura, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can.
We can hear you. We can hear you, buddy. Laura looks frozen.
Yeah, Laura's frozen.
She's frozen in
Maty.
Scottish time.
Yeah.
So, Laura, I think you got to turn your video off.
The gremlins come to strike.
All right, Laura, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Your internet's having some kind of weirdo issue. So, anyways, tell us about your time and what was it like for you to be on the bus tour?
Me?
Yeah, you were on the tour, right?
Yeah, no. The person behind you.
No, the other Laura.
You call on somebody with internet issues to speak. Okay, right.
You didn't have internet issues to speak with before we started. They just started.
I didn't. So we had.
But you're fine. You're fine now.
Okay, cool. We had the most amazing time. We had an incredible group of people that over the week we just all got to know each other. We all went through various healing journeys together. We got a chance to try out the combined therapies, treatments as well. We visited some amazing places. We all got worn out. We all ate really well. We all tried some whiskey. We all travelled over water quite a few times and saw some most incredible sights. And I'd just like to thank the guys, obviously I work with Andrew, Maty and Dale, but also the people on the tour. You know, today we've got the lovely Geraldine, Ashley and Jamila on, but they're also, you guys were great. But everybody who came, everybody contributed something to make up this beautiful algorithm of finding karmic balance in Scotland, along with many other things.
So, Maty, what was the tour like for you?
It was an adventure, an outright adventure from beginning to end. There were so many different facets and layers to the experience. There was huge karmic resolution happening in everything, and it was obvious to see it in play. But there was, for the healies, one of the things that I didn't expect was how much endurance it was going to take, because it was early up, late to bed, with constant movement in between, and
lots of heavy bags to lift.
Lots of heavy bags to lift. It was mayhem like that, but there was so much bonding that happened between people. It was just wonderful to see people at the beginning, then people as the journey progressed, and then once the healings began, how everybody blossomed and changed. And that goes not just for the people that were on the tour with us, but for ourselves as well. I feel like a changed man. There were some beautiful, beautiful moments. The beauty of Scotland is what really surprised me, because it got so much so that you would drift off or talk to somebody and then look out the window and there's even more beauty. I mean, I don't think I've seen so much beauty so consistently in all my life, and that part of it made it really super magical. And of course we had the most incredible tour guide as well, Rich, who just made the whole thing perfect. So yeah, from beginning to end, and that's not even talking about the mystical stuff, that's just the actual mechanics of it itself. It was beautiful.
Dale, what was the tour like for you?
The tour for me was transformational in all ways. To be able to meet all the people that came on the tour as well was very unique, and we felt like a family all the way through, and we got to know each other throughout the days. Scotland itself allowed me to open up. It allowed me to make my own inner changes as well. There was a lot of mystical experiences personally for me, going around the lands, visiting different experiences. a lot of karmic interaction, and as you talked about, Andrew, new dreams, new experiences, and so on. For me, it's like going home when I go to Scotland. So each part we went to held a different, I'd say, experience for me. But to have this experience with everyone, get to know Andrew even more, get to know Laura and Maty and everyone joining, it was so unique and wonderful. And I feel so inspired now. It felt such a pilgrimage. It felt such a journey. And I feel, even though there was a lot of work, there was a lot of things going on, I've come back a new man. I've come back a new person, and I'm ready to dream some new dreams.
Wonderful. And for me, the tour is still going. It hasn't ended yet. And Maty, Dale, and Laura, this is their first time being on a tour, running it from the background. I've done these before, and I'm like, you guys are only going to know how hard it is until you actually do it. But the fun thing, day one, we're taking the taxi to go to the spot where the butt's going to pick us up, and I heard Dale go, "Hey, a homeless guy." Wait, no, that's Bob. Turn the thing around. So Bob Vogel, who was there, he was just sitting on the ground with a suitcase, hoodie pulled over, and his white beard hanging out. And he was like, the priest, like, that's a homeless guy. No, that's Bob Vogel. That's how the tour started. And then we come out, and we all looked like a bunch of homeless people with our bags on the corner. It was really quite funny. And then people started arriving, and then we got on the bus. And what did we do? First day, I think Culloden was our last visit of the first day. I don't remember, but it was so rainy, and I didn't have a rain jacket because I left it back at home, so I had to wear a fucking body condom, big plastic bag to put over myself with a hood.
Those ponchos did actually come in useful. Culloden was a bit dreary, really, wasn't it? It wasn't.
Oh God, it was dreary. It was very dreary. Yeah.
It wasn't a tour highlight.
And I loved everyone's comedy as well they brought to the table. There was such a laugh. We talked about phalluses, other stuff. It was just so fun and unique, just ripping out of each other, and just allowing us to take the serious stick, as Andrew says many times, out of our own asses and just have fun. And yeah, it was incredible. I literally wet myself many times. My face hurt many times from laughing. So
and Rich was great as well. The tour guide, he had his great sense of Scottish humour. He was brilliant. Yeah.
So Ashley, what was it like for you? From anything you just want to remember and share?
Oh man, it was quite an adventure. Every day was sort of surreal. Like I was just taking it in one moment at a time. You know, like, wow, am I here? This is gorgeous. And absolutely loved getting to know everyone on the bus. It was a haul. I did more exercise there than I've done in quite a while. There was a lot of hiking and yeah, got my heart rate up, got rained on. It was an adventure. It was pretty mystical and magical. You know,
you even beat seasickness.
Oh gosh. So that's something I'll never forget is that first ferry ride. We had a really, really rough go of it. Oh my goodness. We were inside. People were falling over, trying to walk out to the back deck. I had to escape. I had to get out to the back deck and get some air. Didn't care if falling off the boat. As long as I was outside and not being tossed about inside. But besides that was pretty neat. The caves were really magical for me. And the ferry pools, that I'm going to take with me. I feel like I was messed with a little bit at the ferry pools. And the whole thing was a transformation for me, for sure. It was a wonderful pilgrimage. I've come back with new eyes, you know. Everything looks different back home now. It's lighter, it's happier, but I think it's just me that changed.
And you just got back last night, right?
Yeah, it was last night. Not last night, but the night before, around midnight or so. It was about 24 hours of travel. Yeah. And I'm still out of whack. I woke up this morning at 2:40 a.m. my time. So I'm still kind of adjusting to the...
Just in time to get for the bus.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Geraldine, what was the trip like for you? Anything you'd like to share?
I think meeting with such lovely people that all had different healing modalities, and they were sharing their wisdom and their expertise was really an eye-opener for me. You know, when I realised there was so much different things going on there for helping to heal people. And so that was great. Listening to Joni with her about her animal communications, I really enjoyed that. That was like so new for me, and to be able to be there and ask her questions, and she was so accommodating. That was amazing. So meeting with everybody was really a big thing for me. It was huge because there's not that many people that are like-minded where I live. So to actually meet up with so many wonderful people that were so cool was just like fascinating, really good. And the caves were brilliant when we saw the little orbs flying around and all the faces in the rocks and things all popping out. Tina done her vocals and her toning, and as soon as she'd done that, all the rocks came alive with all these faces. You know, it was as if they all popped out of the rocks to say, "Oh, what's going on here? This doesn't happen often." And that was fantastic. And then when we were on the boat, the first trip, as Ashley said, was like, it was really rough. And I nearly planked my face in Sean's dinner was when the boat rocked. And I was like, whoa! And then it was much more serene when we were on the boat traveling across the water to go to the Isle of Lewis. And the light was shimmering and the dolphins were following the boat. I mean, that was just spectacular with the island in the distance. So I think for me it was, the journey was just from one amazing level to a higher amazing level to a higher amazing level. It just seemed to sort of like go on from so much different experience, and the energies of each different island felt different. So I mean, it was just a beautiful experience, really.
Yeah.
And all.
You want to share your time with the Calendish Stones for you? I know you had a special connection there.
Yeah, well, I came up from Ireland from the bottom to the top, and all the hawthorns were in bloom. And I thought, you know, it would be nice to take some hawthorn seeds over to Calendish because I'd been there before, and the sheep there have a rough time of it with the wind and the weather and things. And I thought, if I planted some little seeds, even if one of them sprouted, then that would be a nice thing. So I got the 5:30 bus back to the hotel, and you guys went on to do some more tours. And I just went into the fields with the sheep. I told you about my trousers falling down, didn't I? It came to me that I was wear a dress when you go to the stones, but I didn't listen. And when I had my jeans on, every 10 steps, my jeans started to fall down. So when I was in the field, I couldn't really walk very far. So I was searching for a bit of string. Oh my goodness, I had to melt it. Then I cut it, and then I got it round me, and it was too short, and I lengthened it. And then once I got it really tight and secure, I needed to pee. And I was like, oh, for goodness sake. So that was a bit of a challenge.
Your wisdom about clothing on the tour.
Sorting out the right clothing is definitely a thing if you ever do that tour again. You know, you need to have clothes that are going to be secure and stick to you, and clothes that you can take off if you get too hot, or put on lots of layers if you get too cold.
I had things that I didn't have. So I was going to say, there's plenty I know that I don't need, and plenty that I do need. So I had loads of stuff I didn't use that I was just carrying around, and other stuff I was like, damn, I wish I had this.
I know. I wanted my waterproof. Sorry?
There was no full Irish moon for you?
No, I never even any moon. All I could see was the clouds. I did see stars. And I've seen lots of stars when we used the Lucia light. That was quite amazing. There was lots and lots of stars all flying at me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Jamila, how you doing today? Jamila, you got to unmute. Jamila. Activate Jamila mode.
Activate.
It's on.
Yeah.
We can hear you. Hello? Jamila. Your internet. Yeah, but you're breaking up really bad. Yes,
Like everything with the internet. But he
we
hears
can hear you now.
it.
We can hear you, but you're really, really choppy.
I'm
You're choppy, yes. All right. We'll come back to you in just a second. We'll come back to you in just a minute. All right, Dale, tell us about some of the insights that you may have had from the Calendish Stones to the tour crossings to the autistic kids popping around me everywhere I went.
So, for my own personal experience of going through Scotland, what was interesting for me was as we did the crossing to Orkney Island, as we were crossing over and as we got to the island, things felt a bit different. The reality felt a bit different, and I was trying to figure out what I didn't understand what was going on. Then a few people said it. Sean said it's like we're in another reality. Then, as we went to the pub, Andrew said we went into another dimension. So, just out of kind of context for it, Andrew, what happened as we went over to Orkney? Because it did feel like we stepped into either back in time or into a different reality.
20 minutes out, we're 20 minutes away from the island where the island's in view. And right about that 20-minute mark to get to the island, I felt this pop. Like we had gone from one reality to the other. It was like, woof, we just went through it. And then immediately it was as if so many of the pressure rules the other realities have didn't exist there. The spiritual pressures, the ancestral pressures, all of that stuff, the rules were so vastly different. And then when we got off the boat and got to the hotel, I'm like, damn, we're all recognizing this land is different. The old wizards still had a presence there somehow, some way. And I remember telling Laura, I'm dog-ass tired. And I'm like, I got to go to the pub that's right down the street there. And it's like 10 o'clock at night. And she's like, okay, we'll go. We got there. And then I'll have Laura pick up the story the second. And we like kind of sent a message out. If you want to come to the pub, we'll be there. And it was really cool. And that's where the whole idea of this alternate density and dimension of energies came through.
Wow.
So Laura, you want to share part of the pub story? You're muted. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. So that was incredible because, like, even at the hotel, we'd step back into time. We'd step back into something, into another. I kept saying, "Are we in another dimension? Are we on another timeline?" I felt so weird, and the whole hotel, the whole street, everything was like something pre-war. So about something like 1930s, wasn't it, guys? I mean, it was just so, like, it just felt so different. So Andrew said he'd got his notebook and he wanted to feel the energies. And I was thinking, whoa, yeah, okay, what is going to be open 10 o'clock on a Sunday night in Stromness? This is Orkney. So we asked the receptionist. She said, yeah, you've got a pub down the road. So we went in there and I was really uncomfortable. I was the only female in the bar. And in the corner were a few young guys who seemed to be taking the mickey out of me. And I got more and more uncomfortable. And I felt a bit sick. I just didn't feel right at all. And Andrew said to me, you okay? And I thought, well, I might have to go. And in feeling that uncomfortable, I always message Maty or Dale, because Maty's been like my protector for a long time. And it just felt quite a rough place, although everyone in there was fine. And the guy behind the bar was was really helpful and great, but I felt odd. So I messaged Maty and Dale and said, your presence would be appreciated. So Bob was there already. It was just me, Bob and Andrew, actually.
It was a bit
Sat
weird
there.
as well.
Yeah.
Just
So-
a quick one, Laura. As you sent that
Yeah,
message, I was like,
yeah.
holy shit, I'm winding down, it's late. And then I was like, all of a sudden I was like, right, I
Yeah.
got to go to the pub. It was like something just tweaked. I was like, right,
Yeah.
let's go.
Laura's caught. Yeah, you had to come. It's just in the way I wrote the message, isn't it? I just said, your presence, I need your presence here. Just feeling really odd. And what happened then? So
I felt fucking
So
strange
the-
walking into
the-
that pub. I felt as soon as I
You
walked
did,
across the
didn't
threshold of
you?
that
Yeah.
pub, I felt fucking weird. And I was like, oh god. But yeah, sorry, go on,
It
carry
was
on.
re-
It
it
was
was
everything.
really-
Everything was strange. That whole island.
everything. So the three young guys, I don't know, they were about 20 or 22. I don't know. They left, the ones in the corner. And I stopped for a while. Andrew said to me, do you feel better now? And I said, yeah. He said, was it the guys in the corner? I said, yeah, they made me feel really uncomfortable. And what it was. And then he said to me, well, you've got karmic, you've got some karmic history, and you're now getting karmic resolution. And it's, I don't know, 100 years ago, no, 200 years ago. I forgot when.
1885.
1885.
1885.
1880 being the lead prostitute in the pub.
Laura,
The
Laura,
port.
turn your video
The
off. You're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. Right, there we go.
Laura, turn your
that's-
video off.
It's a good time.
There we go.
to embarrass. So I had videos off.
She's got a delay. Yeah, I think you're on a delay, Laura.
Okay.
So just tell your story.
Yeah.
Okay, if Andrew, if you've got a better connection, you tell it from here.
So just turn off your Wi-Fi. That's all you got to do.
Okay, hold on.
Anyways, so I was sitting there with Laura. She'll get back. It's just her Wi-Fi. Just turn off the Wi-Fi. It's all you got to do. So I'm sitting there with Laura, and I'm like, "So did that feel better?" And she's like, and I'm telling her, "You had karma between you and those kids." Now Bob was also sitting with us, and Bob discovered there was a Chinese restaurant, literally like 25 steps away from the bar, and the only thing open on the island, serving food to 11. So Bob comes back with fried duck, spring rolls, and some other stuff, which was amazing at the time because we were all mildly hungry. And then I began to put together the story of everyone that was in the pub, all the karmic interaction. What ended up happening is Laura was a lady of the night in 1885, and those guys were men off of a military ship, and they killed her. Okay, back in 1885. So Laura, are you back there, Laura?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you. You're good now.
Can you hear me?
And they cut her head off
good.
as well, which was crazy.
Am I good?
part.
You're good. Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
It's no wonder that I felt really, really uncomfortable with them. Turns out that both Maty and Dale had karmic interaction at that time as well. In fact, as we sat talking to Andrew, who gave all of us our roles, why we were there, why we were all together in this particular pub. And who else was there? Jason was there as well.
Yeah, then Sean
Jason,
showed
Bob,
up.
and Sean, Geraldine, didn't we, outside the hotel a bit later, and someone else, Frida.
And Jamila
So
and
Andrew
a
was
couple of
able
other
to-
people.
The whole karmic interaction was there, which was
And what was your
just
role, Maty?
amazing.
It was my role.
Yep.
Well, I was like a gangster, you could say, or like a Peaky Blinders type character, someone who put things together, put people together, a bit of a career criminal. And I knew Laura, and I advised her not to go with these particular fellas. And then I was also the one that Dale framed for the murder.
Get ready for this. Get ready for this. This is so good. Go on, go. Sorry.
Go, you tell it. It's your story. He said sorry to me so many times.
So I was a policeman. I was a local head policeman of the town. And as Laura died, I was a person who discovered her and obviously sorted that out. As a policeman, I was very corrupt, and I thought it was Maty, and I blamed it on Maty, and I arrested him. Then down the line, I found out it wasn't Maty, so I tried making it up to Maty. And the funniness in this story was, so the rooms got swapped around, and I ended up staying with Maty. So I actually stayed in a room with Maty after, and I just looked at the karma and all the funniness of it. It was so fucking sweet.
But it was like, but I went to prison as well in that, and he ended up getting me out of prison. But there was so many. I mean, not everybody's job, everybody's role, but there were so many nuances between what people were in those lifetimes to what they are in this lifetime, and things that we've gone through. It was funny. It was funny.
And the connection story.
Yeah, and then Jason and Bob were the hired killers.
Hired killers, yeah.
Andrew, do you want to go into that, because that's a connection to that?
All right, so I'm trying to assemble at a live pub while drinking everybody's connection. Like, how does this all connect? Because sometimes their connections are really basic, and as I'm putting the whole story together, so Jason and Bob were there. Jason and Bob were like, their father was a sheep herder. They wanted to leave. They wanted to get out. And being a murderer or a hired killer back in the 1800s was a common job. It was advertised in the newspapers. So they left. So it turns out the bartender was their father. Okay. So they had left. They had left the island and gone to the States, and they were buffalo hunters, and they were heavily killers there, but they ended up coming back, and late 1885s, and they ended up both dying in like mine cave-ins, like for coal and tin. So they were miner driving the slave labor on the island because they wanted to get off the island and come back rich, which they did.
Andrew, the funny thing was, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Well,
yes, we
can. The funny
can.
thing was really congenial with Bob. The bartender was really good with Bob because Bob
he was really nice to him.
Wanted to. Yeah, Bob is from up the road, and the bartender said he could eat it in that pub, which is really unusual. They don't live in their premises.
And so, Andrew, what was your involvement in this?
I was the priest that buried all the dead bodies.
He was loading them up.
I was also the undertaker, and I made coffins for everybody, and I made good money.
Sean Bibby was a homeless person, and he had actually witnessed a murder and knew that I was innocent, but didn't say anything. There were other connections as well. Jamila was she was a womanizing man who got extremely wealthy from taking women's money. Who else was
Frida
there?
Frida was the ship's captain.
Yeah, where the sailors come from.
Who was Geraldine? Geraldine was out.
She was the fisherman, captain of the fishing boat.
That's right.
That's it. Yeah. So everybody hotel we stayed in had a place in
So what about Ashley? What about Ashley? Did she have any interaction on that island? Was everybody in our group a part of it, or just those that met?
She wasn't there for that part of it. Anyways, so that was in Stromness. That began. That really opened up some of the unique and fun experiences that came later.
And the thing is, Andrew, wasn't it that the actual transition? Sorry.
Yeah. So Jamila, are you there? Let's see if your internet's stabilized. You got to unmute, Jamila.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes, you sound wonderful.
Yes.
I am unmuted.
And you're beautiful. We can hear you. How are you doing today?
Hello. I think it is. Give me another 5 minutes. We're trying to reset the other. We're on another internet now.
Okay.
So many internet, and I think then it could
Okay.
work better.
Okay,
Oh,
you're
it
pretty
works
stable
now.
right now.
No, it's.
You sound pretty
Give me
good
5
right now,
minutes.
Jamila.
Okay, we'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead, back and mute again. So there was another time where we were on the bus and everybody was. That's when they started bribing me with liquor.
Asking the light worker questions, and you had to give him some if you wanted an answer.
Yeah.
Dale, share that part.
So as we were on the bus, so it was question time, and a lot of people were asking some quite light workery questions, myself included, and a few others. And Andrew just said, "Look, if you want a light worker question answer, and you've got to bribe me." Then all of a sudden, Richard had this really incredible whiskey in his bag. So we got the whiskey out and we passed it to Andrew, and his face when we got it out, he's like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna have to do it now." So we went into that other story, and it was a story about the hunting, wasn't it, and the deer.
Yeah, the hunting of the stags. Yes.
The capturing of a fairy, which was, who was the fairy?
The fairy that went to the
Arcee.
circus. Yes.
Arcee.
Yeah.
No, it was Frida.
Hold on.
Frida. It was Frida. That's right.
Arcee
It was Frida. Yeah.
Bounty.
Yeah.
Arcee was
Yeah.
a bounty hunter, wasn't she?
No,
But some
I
different
don't-
roles. Go on, Ashley. You
It
remember better
was-
than me.
I think it was Tina and Anna were helpers. They were rescuers to Frida. So Frida
Yes.
was a fairy in a circus. And no, not in a circus.
No, it was it was that it was that way, and then the others were the bounty hunters.
That one of them
I
was me,
remember-
and one of them was
Yeah,
Jamila.
Arcee.
You were one as well.
Yes.
I was a bounty hunter
Yes.
too. Everybody
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
It was
But what I have to
And
story about
about
a
that
mine.
story is so cool that then
There was a story
Yeah,
about a mine
and
at
it was
first.
Andrew was talking
click
about these.
So we got to have one person at a time. Go ahead, Ashley. Go fill your part in here.
Okay, so I believe Frida was working in a mine and being mischievous, messing with the miners, and I think she was captured and she was taken to a circus and trapped there. But Anna and Tina help her escape, and there was a bounty put on all of them. I think Frida, Tina, and Anna. So the bounty hunters included Millie, and she was quite savage. She may have eaten some human flesh in her time. And there was me, Jamila, and Dale were all bounty hunters. And I think Millie may have been our boss because she was the roughest and toughest, who knows. And so we were punished. I think we were punished by other fairies for...
We caught her. Yeah, we caught
They
her.
had gone to the place for safety, and you guys tracked them to that safe place.
And as punishment, us bounty hunters were transformed into stags for 200 years to learn about fairy communities. So we were stags together for 200 years. What a cool punishment.
And as
And
soon
you had,
as
to
that's
avoid you had to avoid all the hunters.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as that story ended, we ended up going to the hotel in Oban, and all of a sudden there was a stag on the wall, huge stag head. So as soon as we finished that trip to the hotel, I went in and walked along the corridor, and there's a humongous, real, like taxidermied stag head on the wall.
And wasn't it even before then, as soon as Andrew stopped talking about deer stalking?
Richard saw it, didn't he?
Bus driver Rich, he saw the deer stalking sign. He actually saw it to the. He was just totally amazed. There was a couple of incidents that he was like bowled over with something Andrew had been talking about would then happen.
The tunnels in the mountain.
talking about the underground
He had
tunnels.
an oh shit moment.
Yes, he did. You also,
straight
that
up-
was really interesting.
Our straight up Muggle bus driver had an oh shit moment.
Yes, yes. But also, you told him, which was amazing, being the pollen taking whale pods from one place to another.
Yes. Yeah, so it was quite a few moments where our bus driver's like, "Holy shit, what the hell's going on with these guys?"
Because that hill you mentioned, Andrew, wasn't there the going for oil
That's
or
Richie's
something
a
under
legend.
that?
Yes.
And he was like, "Oh shit, that's where
Yeah.
that's what they call yeah."
Such
There's
a
no
cool
way I could
guy.
have known that shit. Exactly. There's no way I could have known any of that in his mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Andrew went into as well. Richard, the tall guy who's taking us around the island. He was a clanman at one point, and he was like a negotiator between clans of the island. And he used to take people on pilgrimages. And that you could tell it was really, really fucking with him a little bit as he was going into that. He was like, "Oh shit!" He just understood on a soul level. He understood. His brain was trying to go through all of it and process it, but you could tell he was understanding and really feeling what was going on.
But he did keep and protect us as well. And he drove like an absolute legend. That was unbelievable how he navigated all of those twists and turns, and he never made one mistake, never hurt anybody, and the bus run perfectly the whole time, which was just incredible, really. Yeah, a shout out to Rich because he was amazing.
Yeah.
That's him on the
Rich
left.
was great.
Yeah.
Richard Lawrence. Who, the other thing, he was so knowledgeable about the land and the myths and the legends and things that had happened. And he also just really friendly. He took us through where where he lived, where his friends lived, and you'd be just driving along and he'd the street and he'd say, "And now we're going to pass my Uncle Kev and Auntie Val's house." So friendly, and he was just such fun to be with, wasn't he, guys? And he
That
really
part of the tour was
part of this tour. Absolutely.
Yeah, that part where he took us, that was right at the beginning of the tour, and he took us round and he was like, "Well, that's where John lives," and then Thingy lives over there, and that's my mum's house there, and it was so funny because it just set the scene for what kind of experience we're about to have, because he had all of this information about everything. Great guy.
Yeah. And he hasn't forgotten the ancestors and the old stories of the lands as well.
All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to the faces on the wall. Who wants to share that part of the story?
Have we got the photo, Joel? If not, I can upload it and find it.
So who had the photo originally? Who's not on tonight? So I think it was either RC or Frida.
I'll upload it.
If RC had sat by a wall by the coach.
Yeah, it was RC.
And taken a photo, and Frida asked a question about the face, and I just, in my light workerish way, she asked about the face, and you see in it that's your creation with the rock at the time, and you're this or other things, you are creating whatever you want to see. Really, that's your. And Andrew's going, "No, hold on a moment. That isn't that. Take a look at it." He was taking us through an entire story that you could see had been, but over the eons of time had worn out. There was, Andrew, it was like there was a knight lying down with a sword. There was an upright sword. A monk. There was a whole tale, wasn't there, written across these rocks that nobody else would have seen.
And none of the local people even knew it was there, or they'd be talking about it all the time.
Joel, I'm going to send it to you on WhatsApp.
Hi, Tina, in the chat room. Alrighty, guys. So as soon as that picture loads up, we'll talk about that. But there were some unique times, like when we were on the boat, and all of a sudden the dolphins showed up out of nowhere. Or inside Oban Bay, as we're leaving in the morning, a whole big, huge group of whales came in behind all the boats, and they were going circling this big school of fish. Yeah.
The funny thing is, as well, is when we saw them, a lot of us were trying to light worker it and trying to demand them to come. And they're like, no.
Yes.
So you did see them when you didn't expect to see them, or just in a greatness synchronicity moment. But the light worker inside of me at one point was going to the ocean. Come on, guys, show me. I demand you show me.
And both times we had lots of ferry trips, but there was two different autistic kids on different journeys, and they were going absolutely wild, weren't they? And the whales, they love them. Okay,
Maty's got
here
a
is
story
our
as well,
rock
isn't
carving. Yeah, the Maty story in a minute. Should we do this?
So it started at, here's this rock thing. And I go, hey, do you see all the faces in here? Joel, can you blow it up at all?
Can you take the subtitle off the bottom as well, Joel?
No, he can't blow it up. All right. So if you look at dead center, there's a face. Just above it, there's a face. Down below, there's a warrior. So when you actually get to zoom in, this entire picture is person after person. In the bottom right-hand corner is a monk handing. In the bottom left, at the bottom right, middle right corner, there's another face sticking out. There's a little dragon with teeth coming out above the shoulders in the dead center. This was a fully exquisite carved rock scenario that no one even realizes is there. Otherwise, the locals will be talking about it all the time. And you can clearly see these are fully carved stones. But the weather had eroded all of it until you actually sit there and look.
And we had a holy shit moment, didn't we, at Inverness?
Yeah.
Was it at Inverness? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, in Inverness, yeah.
So you can cross the bottom of the photo with an arm and holding a sword, and sort of in the middle of the photo there's all these faces, but there's clearly an up there, and there's so many faces. You just and let your vision soften and you'll see it.
There's even a couple UFO images in the picture too, gray aliens in there too, clearly carved. Yeah. It's just not a figment of the stone of your imagination. It's there.
And those ones as well.
Just zoom in a little bit, and all of a sudden, shit, there's faces everywhere.
Yeah. And it was in a place. It was just where the buses pull up. It was above the smooth caves. Just after we'd done the zip lining, people wouldn't stop and sit there, but RC had chosen to sit there and then take. It was quite incredible.
There you go. All right, now they blew it up. Now, if you look at the woman in the center with a knight in between her, you're going to see a set of fangs and teeth behind it. I believe that's a dragon image. Okay? Okay? Tina just got through security. Anyways, if you look on the bottom and to the bottom and to the middle, you'll see a whole bunch of other set of faces there. Again, this is an entire carved scene. That, and in its original form, it would have been an absolute exquisite carving. And it would have been about 10 foot by 20 foot long.
And you wonder how many of these are not just over Scotland, but we just don't see anymore because they've become so worn away.
And the synchronicity of us seeing this, just a random photo in the background, then all of a sudden these faces started to appear. It was very, very mystical and a very enjoyable experience. Everyone was just like, holy shit, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Then just everyone had the photo out in the lobby. It was really fun.
We had many, many moments like that, didn't we, on the tour?
Oh, yeah, everywhere. Yeah, exactly. her heather honey got confiscated. Aw.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Maty had an amazing mystical experience, Andrew, in the unorthodox church.
Oh yes, Maddie. Maybe you can upload one of those images with the snow in the background.
I just have it as a video at the moment. I'm not sure I can do that really quick. I'll see what I can do.
Okay. So this what's the story of that was carved out by Italian soldiers during the World War II?
No.
It's Conan Kirk.
Okay. Conan Kirk was a guy built for his mum because she village church. So he built her own magnificent church. Get there because she was a bit had difficulty walking, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. It was actually on our last day in Edinburgh, and Maty did an incredible light language song, also sung, which was beautiful. I mean, there's lots of these videos now on Facebook. If it's difficult for you to get Maty, I can get it.
Well, I've got the video. I can put it on the WhatsApp, but as I'm going through it and I'm looking at stills, you can't really see them because they move so much. You may be able to just see one or two around me.
Can we run the video, Joe, or does it have?
Yeah, I think you can, Laura. You just said
it have to be uploaded. Anyways, long story short, earlier in the tour, I told them while we were using the light in the mat, there'll be times that it'll actually snow or rain around the person. And it's a very, very rare event, like an ectoplasm event. Mm. And so Maty was singing there, and then afterwards, people are like, "Hey, what's this?" And he's like, "That's snow. It's snow and raining around him during that." Matt, do you want to describe what it was like for you to sing in that hall?
Well, okay, I've just put the video into the WhatsApp, into our producer one. Well, as I was going in there, I was kind of doing beatboxing. I wanted to hear what that was like, so I was clicking. I was doing my clicking all the time. It's a strange thing, and the acoustics were amazing. And then the longer I spent in there, the more warmer and inviting it just felt. And as I just stood there in the middle looking up, and I just could see it was made for music and for singing, you know. And I just began to sing, and I do these ancestral songs and these light language songs all the time when I'm on my own, or when I'm out. But to do it in that environment, and of course, once I did it, spirit just took over, and it was actually really hard for me to hold it. I could do the singing part, but there was parts where there was so much energy that I felt like I was about to just explode. And my hands are moving, and all the energy's moving, and I mean the whole journey was incredible psychic endurance for me, but in a beautiful way. But that part was so high frequency, and I just hear the video, I just hold my heart because it was like I was going to explode. Yeah, but the sound was beautiful in that place, and I really want to go back there. Yeah.
And we had Tina as well with her incredible voice.
Tina.
Singing some very unique songs, and one of my favourite personal songs, the Loch Lomond song, which almost got me in a few tears.
I think Tina made a few people cry, actually. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
So let's move on and talk about some of the...
Nati Chukuholo, Nahila Mahala, we Hisin, Go, Narilia, Humeho, Naridisculiala, Naribilia Mala, Bolue, Hosue, Bala, Nadaha Chawa, Tukikila Mil. Oh, it's emotional for me to do that, guys.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Bravo, brother.
You can see
Bravo.
the different snowflakes coming around here. They're around. Yeah. That's an example of full manifestation.
Makes my heart race
So
now.
let's
just looking
move
at
on
it.
to talking about some of the. Yeah. Let's move on to talk about some of the combined therapy and healings that we did on the trip. And I will talk to Ashley for a second here. What was it like when you experienced the different forms of therapy while we were on a trip?
So, first of all, I thought it was really amazing to be so supported by everyone because we're on a bus full of healers. So you could just feel supported even by your fellow travelers. And there was just healings going on left and right. You know, I started going through my process started going through a heavy process on the back of the boat on the ferry to Orkney. I was already letting it out. I was crying back there alone. It's like, and the rain and the waves were crashing. So Maty started some healing with me later that night. And it just opened the door for some stuff to come out. And then I got some personal healing the next morning because I was just going through it. I got hands-on healing from Andrew himself. Like, what a treat. How many people get to have that healing? And it helped me so much. It was pulling stuff out, and after that I just felt so much better. And I got to cry and unload that in front of everybody on the bus. I was gasping and just going through it. And
we welded your wings back on.
Yes, we welded my wings back on, and I got to practice flying with them. And it was pretty easy with all that wind. But after when we did our first round of healing sessions together, I have to say I was a little bit nervous for that because I didn't get to experience the Lucia light. Mm-hmm. I had a really major ayahuasca ceremony where I traveled deep, so I know what that space is like. You see the geometric patterns, and you go on a trip through wormhole travel. I've done that, and that experience was really intense. So I was a little bit nervous to go through the Lucia light, and maybe it wasn't my time. So I didn't actually experience that. So hopefully in the future I'll be ready for that. But it was beautiful to watch everyone else go through it, and watching Maty going through doing his healing with people, just sitting there taking that in. And I did have a great experience on the mat, the PEMF mat.
Yes.
Mat. That was great. Once Andrew let me know that I was grounding to the Earth's frequency, that just opened a doorway for me, and I was really happy about it. I was really relaxed, and I was like skipping and bouncing with the song in my head, like, yay, Earth frequency. And so that really shot my vibration up, and I got a really great reading, which Andrew let me know. I cleared out about 20 years of muck in that little session. And let's see what else. Oh, the cranial sacral therapy. That was just nice and relaxing. It was just lovely. And I got to hear Laura's light language behind me, which it kind of takes me back. It makes me feel soothed, like
loved
feminine energy. Like if I'm being spoken to in Navajo, by people in my tribe, just that loved motherly energy. So that was great. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So Geraldine, you had a really, really big experience on the light as well as on the mat. What would you wish to share with us?
Well, I was sitting observing everybody's personal experience while they were on the light before me, and just when Archie was having a really powerful experience, and I thought, oh no, is that going to be me? Get prepared. And then I seen Bob, and you put music on for Bob, and then you said to me to put a spiritual song on. And so I chose a song that was more or less a song that I felt I had been given by Spirit while I was on the journey. And that started that off. And then I had never experienced the light before, and the geometric patterns and the clarity of colour within the geometric patterns was just totally amazing, you know. And the more I went into it, the more I felt myself moving into the light and that I was becoming a part of it. And so I realised that a part of me, I realised that the light was in itself a spiritual entity and that I was merging with it. And it was the most natural thing for me to do. It was as if I had done it all my life or all my many lifetimes. And then my light language began to come through, and I started to do symbols with my hands, and I was just sort of communicating with the light, and it was just absolutely incredible. I felt as if my body wasn't there, it didn't exist anymore. It was just my mind and my consciousness, and my consciousness was expansive over eons. So I was having this real beautiful experience. And even though you afterwards you had put on some other really beautiful Celtic music, I was in that bubble of stillness, absolute stillness, even though it was there inside myself and my energy field was completely still. It was just an incredible experience. And then, of course, I thought, oh my God, why am I just discovering this light now? I should have discovered it when I was about 6 or something, because it just felt that it was something that I really resonated with. And today I've been doing lots of research on them and things like that. So it definitely triggered something in me. And then afterwards, what happened afterwards? The people that were watching me were crying, weren't they? Somebody was crying watching me. I think it was Frida. And then they said that they had seen me. What was it they had seen me as? A sort of goddess that had fallen from her throne but had been reinstated or something like that. And I was like, oh okay. Okay then. That sounds about right. So yeah, it was powerful, very, very powerful. You know, when I finished, I was very much expanded. I felt as if I was about 20 feet tall, and, you know, I could feel my energy field really expanded out, even though I was feeling quite sick. That didn't become a part of it. You know, I was just immersed in the total experience of being under the light. So I definitely feel that it brought me a lot of healing, and some of it I just can't describe because I don't have the words for it, because it was just like so unbelievably what an experience. So yeah, what more can I say? It's incredible, absolutely incredible experience. Still living it actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Dale, can I ask you what it was like to perform psychic surgery whilst the light was going? Because I didn't have that experience.
So at the end of it, so as I did quite a few hours under it, it felt like I was in the other world, and it was like, as I came back, I was like, holy shit. For me, working under it, it does a lot more of the work which you usually do in psychic surgery to get them into that really deep state of releasing, that state where you know what to do, you know where to go forward, where to go in the healing and so on. The light was I was able to get there so quick. And it felt like to me I was doing the healing in the Aurora Borealis. It felt like I had full dream world connection, even though I do in my sessions anyway, but there was more kind of like formless, shapeless stuff going on, and there was more uniqueness and things I experienced and new things I experienced as a psychic surgeon to work with as well, to be able to work with the light. And as I'm bringing in light and the light's bringing in its own light into the person, into the anatomy, into the brain, and wherever it goes, I was able to work with that as well. For me, it was one of the most unique experiences as a psychic surgeon, and I fucking loved it. It was so much fun. Like, each session I had such a smile on my face, and I was looking forward to the next one. For me, it was the technology and what the Lucia light is. It's out of this fucking world. For what it can do and what it can bring you into straight away. As soon as you're under that, the program switch off, you're in the hypnosis state, you're able to go into a full healing space with the light doing its work, plus you have the psychic surgery as well. I was able to do regression work so easily, and I was able to go back in time and so on. It was just so fluid and so smooth, and yeah, I can't wait to get back on it and start doing sessions with it. So as me, as a psychic surgeon, how much I fucking love it. For me, it was such a beautiful experience, and to have Andrew there, to have Maty there, and Andrew telling me these unique, different things, new things as well. It was fucking incredible, Maty.
Yeah, and the thing as well with the light, this is the unique thing about it, is it's not just creating colours and putting you into a hypnotic state. It is projecting photons of light into you. So that was the interesting thing. When Andrew said to me, watch, so I'd been on the light itself, and then he put it down onto my heart, and then I could feel the photons flowing through my body, even though I couldn't really see the light. And then afterwards as well, I had that afterglow like you have on a medicine journey, but it was a very different afterglow, and I could still feel the particles of light in me and in my aura, and it was just like it just charged my whole unseen world up with light. It was incredible.
Matt, you want to share with your journey of learning to use the magnets, and then also combined with the pulse electromagnetic therapy?
So when Andrew had arrived, before we were on the tour, we had a chance to play with some of Andrew's toys, and I was just taken by the magnets. I have got them here. 1 second. There we go. These guys, and he had 100 of them, I think. There's definitely not 100 left, but yeah, it putting them around the neck, around the wrists, around the ankles, and other various places as well. And instantly, as soon as I put them around my neck, all my fascia went click, click, and I had full movement in my neck. So that was incredible. And then as I began to play with them, I could just see that what was happening in certain places, well, anywhere that you put it, the energy, I mean, you explained it better than I can remember it, Andrew. The magnetic field of the being changes. So for me as a psychic, what I experienced was like an expansion in their energy field. So all of a sudden it went from this to out here. And when I coupled that with my psychic skills and my psychic surgery, I was able to just fill people with even more light, and then this would expand the field even further. So I found that I could just expand and expand and expand, much the same way as the light was and what Dale was talking about. It just magnets, it created this huge expansion. And then when we did the mat as well, so basically the mat comes with a wand, and this wand, as soon as you hold it and you turn it on, you can feel the energy. Andrew said it's like a lightsaber, you know. And but what I was doing was just getting the people to hold it in their hands, and so then I had the magnets on them, the wand in their hands. Then I would be feeding the light and doing my surgery and increasing their light even further, and I was just able to just just go through and grab things. And I mean, it was incredible. You know, when they had the one of the people, when they had the wand in their hands, excuse me, and I was going through the healing, there was almost a whole army of beings that were trying to stop and rip this all apart as I was going along, because it just amplified so much. It must have, all of the unseen world must have been aware of what was going on. It was incredible. As a healer and a psychic, the magnets, how can something so seemingly, you know, mundane create so much magical and healing potential? It really blew my mind. And I've still got them here. They're in my room. I haven't left them, even though they're Andrew's. I'll bring them back.
Sleeps with them.
Yeah.
We're going to get more, and we're going to teach people how they can incorporate that into their own life. So, Geraldine, you had an opportunity to have the magnets and the PMF mat while Maty was doing a session with you, right?
I used the wand and the magnets with Maty.
Yeah, you want to describe what it was like?
Well, I could feel heat coming from round my neck, you know, once they had all been connected around my neck, after about a minute, I started to feel that a warmth was generating. And then when I put the wand, when I told me to hold the wand, I could feel that all really amplifying to this really lovely sensation of heat. So that was my experience with the magnetite. And I thought, oh my goodness, you used to tape them to your feet. In the early days, I would be very ungrounded, and I used to get the magnetite and I used to put them around my ankles, but I would tape it around my ankles in a circle with duct tape. And I remembered that I used to do that, and it was really effective. And here I was all magnet up with them around my neck and my wrists and my ankles. And I thought, wow, this is really powerful, because I could feel the resonance coming from the magnets, you know. So yeah, it was powerful stuff, Maty, I must say. I'd like to get some more, actually.
I'll come on a magnet tour, UK. Coming on a magnet tour.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Because I first experienced them, I was in the back room and I came down. This was the first day Andrew came, and all of a sudden I saw Maty like loaded up, looked like some you know, one of those African with the neck things like pulled up.
Yeah.
And
I had 2 layers on.
Yeah, that was it. They whacked it all on me, and for me it felt like it completely reset all my everything within me. I felt like I was recharged and reset, and some of the stuff what was in me was completely taken out. It was fucking incredible stuff.
And we're hoping
Dale, you want to
our
describe
own
what it was like when you
articles
first
to
used the
take
light?
on tour with us.
Yeah, so
Go ahead, Laura.
Go ahead, Laura. Go.
We're going to get some to actually take on tour with us, guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So for my light experience, so I've done ayahuasca, I've done DMT. I'd say it is, and Andrew's talked about this before, and this is what the main thing he calls it, is a no drug mystical experience. So as you go under the light, the first thing I experienced was another world, another reality. It was like I took DMT without the harshness of it. It was so incredible. I was going into these many different layers and many different realms within realms. At one point I was in another galaxy. There was many it was like going into one form, into another form, into and so on. For me, it was so beautiful. I was able to go in such a deep state of relaxation for so long, and it really calmed me. It made me feel comfortable. I was a bit nervous of it at the start, but as soon as I was under it, it was like a natural state, and the flicker didn't really affect me. I thought the flicker was going to affect me with it flicking all the time, but it doesn't. It just makes you relaxed as fuck. It makes you go into such a relaxed hypnosis state. So I was going into all of these different realities, going on it again. Then I did some psychic surgery on Andrew with Maty and Laura as well at the cottage itself, and that opened me up into new ways and new thinking for psychic surgery, of how you can elevate your own journey, your own process, and what you can do with these combined therapies. Because meeting Andrew and this being opened up to me has advanced my skills tenfold. So thank you, Andrew, for introducing it to us all.
My toys. as
My
Matt says.
toys, yes.
And
My
and
Man
the
with
thing
many
is-
toys. UK with loads of sweeties.
And the thing is, you know,
Yes.
even if you just got somebody with these things and you just left them with them, they would have great potential. But when you get people like us together, and you know, and the unseen and seen bonds that we have, we can create great magic with these. You can do decades of healing in a few sessions.
So, Laura, you want to talk about the cranial sacral therapy you did? Because I believe you worked on just about everybody.
Yeah, I didn't get through everybody, but Ashley has, I think, described some of it. The whole point, really, if you can, is to do it first. And when we do the combined therapy tours together, cranial will be one of the first experiences you'll have. I also do it with an ancestral balancing, so to get you ancestral karmic resolution. Being an ancestral medium is one of my strengths, as Ashley experienced as well. Sometimes the light language comes in if it's needed. Different things come in. Sometimes there can be spontaneous trauma release. But when we're doing it on tour, that actually isn't particularly on the agenda. That may or may not come up. But the whole idea of having a craniosacral before the light and the mat is to relax you and take you into a very deep state of relaxation, so that when you go and experience the Lucia light, when you go and experience the mat, you're able to get you're able to really get into that subconscious and release some of those programs, or certainly it will help your body bring some of those programs to the fore for looking at and for releasing and for resolution. So it's a talking to the body's wisdom, to go really deep in connection right down to the skeletal systems, the nervous system, the organs of the body, the fascia, and particularly the fascia is what we work with in releasing, because that holds a lot of your memories, and that's holding a lot of the
I think Laura's got the gremlins.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. You're breaking up quite a bit, Laura.
Okay.
Andrew, are you there?
So I think I've pretty much described what we do. I think there's I think I'm out of time, aren't I? I seem to have gone to another dimension at the moment.
You're in no time, sister.
I'm in no time.
She's in the future or in the past.
Yeah, we're somewhere in the middle.
You're 2 minutes behind in Scotland.
Very poor internet connection.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm here. I was muted, chitter chatting away, as usual. All right. So let's talk about some other parts of the tour. Anybody want to have anything? Jamila, let's see if you fix up your internet.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
You sound wonderful. You're not being interrupted.
So I guess I'm a delay.
So what was the trip like for you?
There's a delay, right?
Yeah, about a
Go
4-second delay.
It was great. Okay, so that was the dog shaking. The trip was great, amazing. It opened a lot of, I don't even, it was many new beautiful people that I met. Everyone on that trip is an amazing being, and it was just a coming together of beautiful beings, so magical. Everyone was having his part and role, and it was fitting in perfectly. The bus driver, Rich, my gosh, such a fun person. You guys, getting to see you guys in person, out with all of you, and eat all those greasy Scottish fish and chips. It was amazing. Just yes, and the stones, to feel the places there, and to have also the help of you guys around. I have to say, I always had a lot of difficulties with really understanding what I can see and feel, and really believing that what I see and feel is really true. So the first days I was mainly like, when I was around you, Andrew, I was like feeling, Andrew, is that true? And so that was really yeah, it was a great trip for me to really get to know myself also more, and who I am and what I can do and where I can go. Yes, thank you for all that. Yes.
What were some of the fun things that you want to talk about? Like, the Cavendish stones, what the different stuff for you? What was it like for you?
So yeah, when which stones were the big ones where we were not allowed to walk into the circle?
That was on Orkney,
Yes.
wasn't it?
The Broadflower were the ones we weren't allowed to touch.
Yeah,
the ones we went around. Yeah, we could touch.
So me having this natural rebel gene in me, there's something forbidden that is so mean. I should go in there. I wanted to lay in the middle of these stones, and I want to feel it all and touch it all, and how can they say that I cannot go in there? So one guy watching the place, and at the end, after we had our little ceremony there, everybody left, and I was alone there at the space, and there were 2 other tourists, and I turned around and I asked them, "Hey, would you say anything if I just run over there and touch a stone?" And you were like, "Go for it." Because there was like a little bit of a, how do you say in English, graben? Yeah, like you had to go a little bit down. There was no real fence, just the 2 other spots where you could immediately enter. So I was jumping down there barefoot. And then luckily, I learned by now about also having respect in the last second, like 20 or 30 centimeters away from the stone. I just fell on my knees, and like a child on all 4, I was looking up on my hands, and I was looking up on this huge stone, and it was just so there. And I was like, whoa, okay, I don't need to touch you. And now, like, feeling back, I definitely know he was telling to me with all of his being like, don't you dare. So yeah, that was very fun. Yeah, one of the very fun moments there.
All right, so we're going to share.
I'm waiting for people to have a delay.
Sorry about that. So Laura and I are here together now. All right. So that was some really, really fun. Ashley, is there anything you want to share about the different places that we went?
Let's see.
Hmm.
The Fingles Cave. That was that was really neat. So half of us split up. Some stayed back and some went. And it was so special. So that day, got to see seals pretty up close, driving by on the boat, this tiny little boat to get to the Fingles little island with the caves. And it's really interesting and had the geometric shapes all around it. Makes you wonder, what is this? What was this? Because this, saying it's just volcano rock isn't enough. I wonder what it is. The pillars were geometric. And once we arrived there, I was just fully alive. I wanted to be like a little mountain goat and just run around circles around the thing, like whoop, 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 all over the place.
You were.
So I was I was ahead of the group running around and into the cave, and I sat in my little reclining chair made out of the different level of rocks and just observed inside the cave. And for me, that was quite special because it felt like remembering a dream that I had where I was in a cave like that up against the ocean, where I was communicating with whales inside that area. So just the power and awakening, and it was just mesmerizing for me in that space to also exchange with that area a story. So a big thing I learned on the trip also is energy exchange. When you go to a place, especially like where we were, these magical enchanted places where we have histories, it's nice to share a story, give something in exchange for some of the wisdom they're seeding back into you. And that really hit home with me. So I started doing it. I started practicing telling a story. So I got to share with the area my Dreamtime story. I chose another story to tell, but I actually don't remember it right now. And so just kind of alchemizing together with the spirits there, sharing something, receiving back. It just feels really good. And it was just full of happiness and childlike wonder. So I ran up, zoomed back to the top, where the other side of the island, the puffins hang out. So that day we saw seals. There were dolphins also on the boat ride. I saw some dolphins and puffins, the cutest little guys. And they love being around people so long as you're quiet. I was sat on a spot, and they would just come and go. And they were so cute and curious. Not even 2 feet away, there was one hanging out with me, and he'd just pop up from the blades of grass. And their little eyes, they look like they're kind of sad and emotional. They're like, the shape in their faces. He's just looking through the grass at me. And that was a magical moment also. It's just sitting with the puffins for a good 15 minutes, and they observe you and you're observing them. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to remember that magic for the rest of my life.
Oh, there's your puffins. Yeah. And there's your puffins.
They're so
puff.
cute. Their little butts, when they fly, they sort of back up and back down. They turn around and back down, beep, 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 when they're landing, and their little butts look like penguin butts. It's so cute.
Yeah, I can actually say that Ashley was right out there in front, fearless over rocks. A true Navajo. You were jumping those rocks, sat right on the edge. You and Sean. Sean Bibby was the goat-footed. He was the goat foot. Yes, he was absolutely the mountain goat, and he was out there too, right on the edge, just fearless, just sat there, just soaking up the energies. You were it was a real joy to watch you on that island. And then being able to go above the cave and sit. I think Dale and I sat one end, didn't we, Dale? We just we were exhausted, actually. We lay flat out on the grass and just enjoyed the energies of the cave while you were watching the puffins. What did you think of Iona, Ashley? How did you like that?
Is that the Abbey? The Iona Abbey?
That was yes. That's it, with the nunnery and the monastery and the very white sand and the clear sea. Yeah.
Gorgeous. Like, that's a screensaver shot right there. You know, it's just beautiful that the ocean was so blue and bright, and the sun was shining down through it. It had such great energy. Even visiting the Abbey, I had a lot of fun. And even the other chapel, the other place we went to where Maty sang, I kept thinking, I was thinking about, I actually quite enjoy listening to Gregorian chants. And so Maty's songs kind of brought that peacefulness, those healing songs. And it was kind of neat to just ponder that time. And yeah, it was kind of peaceful. I like old churches like that. It brings something old back,
Yes. Yeah, and I felt you were just my take on it, but you spent all the time on deck on all the ferry journeys. The only one who was out there, I reckon, connecting to your whale pod out on the deck for all the journeys. You wouldn't come in, would you? You were out there.
All the time.
Even in the rain over to Orkney, wasn't it? Just rain and rough seas.
So freezing cold out there. It was bundled up. It was raining on me. But I felt the most peace looking at the ocean. And I was just like, you guys can find me outside. You know where to find me. And yeah, I was making peace with the big ocean, the roughness of the ocean. Like, I think I was clearing something, also. Yeah, clearing some things, making peace with the great big ocean. And I just absolutely love spending all my time outside just being out.
Yeah. So I want to share something. So the day before when I got bribed for the alcohol on the bus, Okay. The very next morning, so we decided who wanted to go on to Iona and who wanted to stay and do the healing sessions. So right after the bus left, a bunch of Irish bikers who were there staying the weekend came up to me when I asked for a lighter and gave me a bottle of whiskey, which is what Laura and I are gonna toast with, the Irish biker whiskey. The bribes just kept coming.
And it's good for colds, Andrew. A lot of people had colds, and Millie was getting her hot toddy. Hot toddy, not hot toddy.
Toddy. Yeah.
Not toddy.
Toddy, exactly.
hot toddy every night in the hotels.
And then for our last supper was just absolutely amazing. We're on a big line of people, all 18 of us there, doing psychic surgery in the middle of the dinner and the table, and it was just everybody having their conversation. And that's where I just had this coming together. All the like-minded people found like-minded people, because so many people out there can't find like-minded people. And it's one of the reasons why they do these tours, is to get like-minded people to come together and meet each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
there are
wonderful.
so many stories, though, aren't there? There's so much personal interaction, and everybody had their character and their place within the experience itself, and there was so much more beauty to it than we could describe here. It was an experience.
Like to, share a few of my. Sorry, go ahead.
Go on, Dale. No, go on, Dale.
Yeah, so just quickly, I'd like to share some of my own personal experiences there. As we went from Smoo Cave, which was up the spine of Scotland, all the way down, I kept having these visions of ancestors. From one land to the next, there was an ancestor who would show themselves, and the first vision I saw this lady. Then as we went to this castle, it was really weird because Richard talked about this old castle, and all of a sudden I shut my eyes and I saw Andrew as a Scotsman, and he had long hair and he had like all clan dressed, and he was just there staring at me in the face, and I was like, fucking hell. And for me, that was so beautifully unique because it opened up for me. I'm ready for new vision now. Scotland did that for me, and it gave me such more of a connection to the ancestors. And from being at Scotland now, there's innately, as I shut my eyes, I have the ancestors in my knowingness now, and Scotland created that for me, of how much and how important that is, and the right fucking in front of me. And I remember at the end I looked at him and I was like, fucking hell, you're right here. I was like, yeah, it's taken you a while to really see us now, but now it's in the knowingness of you. And Scotland did that for me. It opened me up, and to the point where they're there as I shut my eyes. They're seeing every fucking thing I'm doing now, what I'm saying now. So yeah, that's what Scotland did for me, and for me to come out my own personality, to come out, have this level of being together with people all the time, it's elevated myself as well, and my own growth. So I just want to thank everyone on the tour. It was so special.
Thank you for being there too.
It really was. We were able to do, I think it gives you the inspiration to do like the spontaneous prayers that Dale and I were doing on our way back from the fairy pools, because that was quite who walked it? Ashley did. I don't know did you do the fairy pools, Geraldine? No, it was wet.
I was too weak, I was too sick. I was like that. If I make it down, I'll never make it back. So
yeah, we ought to just touch on because you had a mammoth sort of healing and releasing the whole journey, really, didn't you?
Oh,
can you take us through some of that?
Well, everything was absolutely fine, and I was on top of my game, just doing my thing and loving life until we left the Isle of Lewis and the Isle of Harris and made our way on the boat over to Skye. And then I was sitting outside with Jason, and we were talking about the dolphins, and I was showing him pictures of dolphins that we have here, and we had the Northern Lights here, and I shared him some pictures, and then we chatted, and then he left, and then I could feel all this watery emotion coming over me and the stillness, but it was like an uneasy stillness. And then when we hit Skye and we went up to Alex McQueen's grave, the fashion designer, and I looked across and I could see the Isle of Barra, and it reminded me of certain situations that were quite traumatic during my childhood. And then I started to get really sick, you know, then that was when the fever came on and the coughing and the sore throat. And that stayed with me for a couple of days, and it just brought me down really, really low and really heavy, dense energy. And I couldn't pull up from it. And then there would be a little brief moments where, as I said, it was coming in waves. And then I would have a brief moment of maybe about an hour, and I was like,
Oh!
That was fucking rude, wasn't it?
The gremlins.
Those gremlins.
Little bastards.
Deactivate gremlin mode.
Will not hear your story. I think Isle of Skye, all the islands had different energies, Andrew.
Absolutely. Coming into Skye, I'm like, the old world wizard's imprint is still here. That's the first thing I said. As soon as we're getting within 10 minutes of being on the island of Skye, I'm like, shit. The old wizard's imprint is still here. So, and I felt it on Orkney too.
But Skye, yeah, I got quite moody on Skye at one of the places we stopped, and as soon as we came off Skye, I felt a lot better. But yeah, every island seemed to have just a slightly different angle on the energies.
Yep, just adjacent reality to the reality that we're used to.
Yeah.
It's like going down a cul-de-sac. You can't go any further, but you're definitely not in the main reality you started in. You're on the cul-de-sac reality.
What is it that does that? Is it the waters in between?
It's the trapped energies, and trapped is the wrong word. The contained energies of that island rejecting the contained energies of other islands, of other places. They're retaining so much of their original imprint.
And they are able to do that because of the frequencies of the water surrounding them?
And the magic that's been done on that island, that place for countless centuries.
And that would apply to many islands in the world then, I guess.
Specifically Skye, yes.
Okay.
But Skye, there's a reason all the big Scottish kings are buried on Skye. And all the major kings they all have their funeral homes there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's that unique special energy and special place. Well, everybody, we've come to the end of the show. We are all physically exhausted, mentally, spiritually, but we will be back. You guys will be back on Tuesday, correct?
Yeah, we are, aren't we, Dale?
Talking Stick Show will be back.
Another Talking Stick Show. We'll be back on that Thursday for another Thursday show. We hope to see you all there. Anyways, this was the first tour. We've got lots of more videos coming out, and keep on a lookout. We are trying to plan an Iceland tour potentially during the volcanic eruption. So you might see volcanoes and northern lights at the same time. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be doing the combined healing therapy here in York coming up. You want to let people know about that?
Yes, we have 2 spaces for this combined therapies intensive healing day. So that's with the Lucia light mat, everything we sort of described on the show today, cranial sacral therapy and a float. So with that, you'll get all 4 of us present. Obviously, Andrew and Dale are grandmaster psychic surgeons, and Maty the light language and the spontaneous light language song, and his crystal magic, and me with the cranial sacral therapy. So if anybody over in the UK or elsewhere for that matter wants to come for this intensive day back to back, this is just a one-off day in York we're able to do, and we will be moving around to other places in the UK. So just contact me, laura2feathers@gmail.com. That's a number 2, laura2feathers@gmail.com, or in fact contact Dale or Maty, and we can let you know of other places that are going to be coming online soon when we can organise the venues. We will advertise mostly on Facebook because that seems to be where most of you are. So you can come and visit us and do one of these days with us, especially while Andrew is here. And he may come back later because we will have the Lucia light and the mat with us. and crystals and so on. So we will be able to give you the full treatment here in the UK. So it's another very exciting chapter that's starting for us now, isn't it? Here?
That's right.
Here, and just to say thank you everybody for the Scotland tour. It was amazing. If we do the Iceland, if we do the Icelandic Fire and Ice tour, that will be, I think we're looking at late October, seeing what we can secure related to the lagoons and the spas for healing there. Yeah. So we're working hard on that for you guys at the moment.
But ongoing, we'll be doing specialty combined therapy for those that want a concierge service, especially for them, which is all 5 of the treatments that we uniquely do. So if you are interested in that, contact Laura's on her email, laura2feathers@gmail.com. My entire time they'll be here, we're going to be offering these services, and we are beginning to start this business not only as a partial as a tour, but we're going to be looking for a fixed home here in the UK.
That's all exciting. Geraldine, Ashley, Jamila, I'm so sorry, Jamila, we couldn't hear you because you are such fun to be with. You are absolutely a brilliant member of the group. We so enjoyed your company, and we're going to see you again soon, I know. And Ashley and Geraldine, fantastic. Everybody who is on that coach tour, including our amazing bus driver, we thank you all and we love you all. It was just so amazing.
All right, everyone, we will be back on Tuesday with another Talking Stick show. All right, Joel, take us away.